Okay, welcome to round 17. We had a big weekend last week, mate.
Yeah, big weekend every weekend, and next two are going to be even bigger.
Okay, Terrelgan knocked off Warrigal, which was expected. Nothing much we can say about that in round 16. Mafra came home with a wet sail in the last quarter, kicked 7 goals against Wonthaggi.
Yeah, hard to work it out, isn't it? Yeah, Mafra have been hard to work out all year. I know they've had some player issues. But Wonthaggi, I was disappointed that they weren't a lot closer and perhaps even winning that one.
Yeah, I mean we were expecting a much closer game, but you know the Mafra Eagles, mate, they're on the rise. Sale and Druin. Sale came down to play, and the first quarter was an absolute ripper, wasn't it?
Oh, I thought the whole game was pretty good. Yeah, you can look at it as Druin's coach did after the game and where they lost it and whatever. But all told, it was a terrific game between two good sides, and I just thought one of the most enjoyable games I've watched for the year.
Yeah, no, it was a great game and thoroughly enjoyed it actually. Leongatha, they absolutely pulverised Bairnsdale. Leongatha's really travelling along very well at the moment, Keith.
Quite incredible, yeah. When a month ago they lost to Warrigal, you said, well, that's it. Not knocking Warrigal in this regard, but it's the sort of game that none of the contenders could afford to lose. But since then they've stitched up Morwell pretty well, travelled to Sale and won, and then really gave Bairnsdale a racing last week. So they've obviously come back superbly. What they've put in the water, I'm not sure, but it's worked.
And then we had the local derby, Moe Mall, on Sunday, and that was a close one all day, and Moe hung out for a 4-point victory there.
Yeah, well, it was... they just had to hang in for victory, otherwise I don't think they could make it. I still think they're very doubtful about making the 5. They're one of those that are in doubt. But I don't think they could possibly have got there if they hadn't have snuck over the line on Sunday.
Well, look, with a couple of minutes to go, Morwell actually had a chance of winning it, so they were very unlucky. But well done to Moe. Now, we've got round 17, the first game here. We've got Warrigal hosting Mafra.
Yeah, interesting. Mafra haven't travelled all that well this year, and they've only once had back-to-back wins for the season. I know Warrigal are going to give it their best shot. It'll depend on some injuries they have as to how competitive they are. I expect Mafra to win, and I think they can, just about getting the 5. May come down to percentage, but I'll tip Mafra that it's been that sort of season.
Oh, it's very hard. Look, I'll go for the Mafra Eagles. I think they will make the 5 myself. They've got to get over Warrigal, but I think they will. Bairnsdale is hosting Wonthaggi, so that's Wonthaggi's long trip over the hills and across the plains. That's going to be an interesting one.
Well, it's 2 big trips in a row for Wonthaggi. Mafra last week didn't seem to handle it all that well, and now their biggest trip to Bairnsdale. Bairnsdale again can play terrific footy. They had a long trip last week to Leongatha, and obviously didn't cope with that too well either, and ran into a side that's in pretty good form. I just reckon Bairnsdale might keep their hat in the ring for another week and topple Wonthaggi.
Yeah, well, it's in it. The Wonthaggi's only half a game ahead of Bairnsdale, so it's obviously a very tight clash. I mean, it's a great league, and everything's been very close this year. But I think Wonthaggi, they started off so well, and I think they've got to win this one as Bairnsdale. But I'll go for the Wonthaggi boys. Morwell versus Terrelgan on a Sunday. It's local derby again for Morwell.
Yeah, you know, yeah, common sense would say you go for Traralgon. I think they're shaping up to be a very good side for the finals. Maul certainly would have put a lot into the performance last week, how they bounce back again, if they're improving, confidence is up. You never know. You know, I'll go for Traralgon, but I don't go with great confidence on any game, Chris.
Look, I think Traralgon can win this one as well, but having said that, again, the local derby, sometimes the teams pull something out. If Morwell are going to do it, they'll do it this week, but Traralgon at the moment, they're on top of the ladder, you know, and I think they want to keep that. We then have another crackerjack game here, Sale versus Moe.
Yeah,
Sale have slipped into second and Moe have slipped into the five.
Yeah. Another great game. The interesting thing with Sale, they've probably been better away from home than they've been at home this year. You know, they've had a few surprises at home. And I don't know, they looked, saw them last Saturday, they just looked a good side, looked to be building to be a very good side. They certainly were up for the game against Struan after losing to Leongatha the week before. And you could see in the excitement they had with winning that game. But it's a matter of whether they keep going. They've been a side that looked to be up for a fair bit of the year and then all of a sudden fall down. But it'll be a terrific game, and Moe's got a lot to play for. I think, you know, their season's on the line, but I'll still tip Sale on what I saw last week.
I think if Sale play as well as what they did last Saturday, they've got to be, you know, between them and Traralgon, they've got to be the top. I mean, the top two on the ladder, but you can tell with the form they're playing with, they are definitely the top two sides in this league at the moment. If Sale play as well as they did last week, I think they will account for Moe. And I'll tip the Magpies to, you know, win this one, but I'm sure Moe's going to give them everything. Then we come down to your favourite one here, Keith. We've got Leongatha hosting Druin. Bit of a bogey side, Leongatha for Druin.
Oh, bogey side, all right. Bogey ground, bogey side. They're in form. It's. I'm just really not sure. I know Druin at its best can do very well, but Leongatha is travelling well. It's got a young side, and like the last 3 weeks have been absolutely superb. At home on that big ground that they're used to, and I think that is a problem for a lot of visiting sides. And I expect them to probably get over the line against Druin.
Well, I suppose it all depends on whether a hawk can peck a parrot, isn't it? Normally, in normal circumstances, you would suggest a hawk would beat a parrot, but this one is going to be very close. So, I think I think Druin have got to come back. They played in a great game last week, but a lot of their players were down, and they have got a quality midfield, and that was beaten.
Yeah, but a lot of players are down because of
the opposition was too good for them. No, that's correct. I agree with you. But I just think that Druin, they have to come back. They have to win this one to keep their third position. Otherwise, they could possibly lose their double chance. And I think that the boys realise that. I know the coach and is definitely keyed up for it. So I'll tip an upset, because it is an upset if Druin beat Leongatha at Leongatha, but I'm tipping an upset.
Very good. We're different on that one too.
Okay.
Rightio, now big news with the finals, who's going to make the five, etc. Do we know where we're going to have any finals yet?
Yes, this is always a very hard task. The finals committee met last night with the full knowledge that whatever decision is made is not going to appease everybody. But the qualifying final is at Moe, the elimination final is at Sale, the second semi is at Mafra, the first semi at Traralgon, and the preliminary finals at Warragul. And there's varying reasons why
And the grand final at Moore.
well, the grand final was chosen ages ago, but it's at Moore. But that's the decision of the finals subcommittee, and that's been handed out to all the clubs today. And as I say, a lot of variables go into trying to work it out, and it's one of those meetings that I never look forward to to attend. But anyway, that's the decision, and all we can hope for now is some good weather, good footy, and hopefully all the Gippsland League supporters flock to the finals.
Yeah, well, it'll be good footy. I don't know about the weather. It'll be good footy, and I think, yes, plenty of people will flock to the games.
So for footy and netball, we mustn't forget netball. But the thing about it is, it's all looking well, shaping up, and we still don't know who the final five is going to be, and that's great. So look, yeah, that's it for this week. We'll be back for next week to preview the last round. Thank you all.